Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Roxy Files tonight. We're going to have a conversation about a theory and a rabbit hole that we're currently down. Shannon will be joining us shortly. She had an errand to run and she'll be on. Not going to have a whole lot of presentation tonight because I have intentionally stayed off of social media and YouTube and news and everything else today because half of the world was calling that today was the day of the rapture. So I have intentionally avoided it. Hey Mike, hey Master TV, I saw your comments and I am extremely interested in them because I have recently fallen down this rabbit hole of rare genetics and what they may be connected to. Because now, as there is more of I see you. Shannon says she's on her way back. We're waiting on you, Shannon. Come right on. We are just having a welcoming in. Hey, Joseph. Hey, Carol. I see you in there. Um, yeah, Shannon. I'm not at my regular place today. I'm over at the farm. I'm not at home where I normally am, so it probably sounds a little different. Volume may sound a little different. But today we are going to be generally discussing where did Mary go. I came across a TikTok a few days ago where somebody was trying to link some particular genetics to possibly Mary Magdalene, which would have meant Mary Magdalene had a child, if this is indeed Mary Magdalene DNA. I see there. Let's see what's really going on. I see your comment. We oh, where did we go? Oops, sorry to switch on. Shannon says thumbs up, so audio must be better when I lean in. Nothing in the King James Version of the Bible really tells you about Mary after the resurrection of Christ. Well, we know that Mary Magdalene was central to Jesus. She's in the photos of the Last Supper. There's an instance where I think it's Peter says in the Bible, and I may be incorrect about that, but I think it's Peter that says he saw Jesus and Mary kiss on the mouth. And evidently, from what I can find in historical research, that some of the apostles thought that it wasn't Mary's place to tell and teach of the things that Jesus taught her. Back then, and still today in some Middle Eastern countries, women don't have a whole lot of right to speak. But I don't know about all of you. Most of you have a girlfriend or a wife or a husband. They are your best friend, your confidant. That's who you unload and download with. So those people tend to know more of your inner thoughts than anybody else. I guess we call it pillow talk. There's lots of things that parents discuss about children that children never know have been said about them, or how the parents really feel about their actions or the course of their life. So if, and this is a big if, this is a theory, this is not concrete, we are exploring a theory, that if there was some type of other relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene, even if it was only that of a best friend or a confidant, that she may have known more than he would have told some of these other men. Because I'm pretty sure Jesus had some trust issues. Um, and some of these people in their later gospels spoke out against Mary speaking. But the best we can tell from history, and none of this is concrete because we weren't there, we're going off what somebody else said and wrote and what legend was. Hey Cash, I see you in there. They were put in a boat with no sail and no oars from Jerusalem, and they end up sailing across and end up over in the France-Spain area. Where she lands is very close to the Basque region of Spain. If you know anything about Basque Spain, they are the largest collective group of people with Rh negative blood type, which is rare. I think it's only about 13% of the world's population actually has that blood type, and the largest concentration of people on Earth is there. The Basque people, which is Basque, it sounds like Bask. I can't read comments right now, y'all, but they have a very unique genetic anomaly over there among their people. They still have their own language, which is unlike any other, and very few people leave there and have ventured out. Some came to America. My particular ones got here in the 1700s. My I don't know how many great grandfathers ago in 1762, ends up in Charleston, South Carolina. When his name is written down where he owns land, they misspell it. They put a G instead of a B. That's where my search started. Hey Claudette, Girl Scout, you are O negative, so am I. There's not a lot of us. If you are Rh negative, you know that there are all types of physical anomalies that seem to be restricted to us. Some of us have an extra vertebrae, some of us have an extra rib. We have these freaky hexachromian eyes which can change color depending upon the type of light that you're standing in. Indoors, outdoors, incandescent, fluorescent, kind of looks like something out of the Twilight movie. It's unique. And part of those medical anomalies are a lot of medications that are given to us do not work. It's almost like we're immune to the medicine and all kinds of medicine. It's not just pain medicine, anesthesia, antibiotics, lots of things don't work. Our body, like, literally flushes them shortly after putting them into our body. It makes it difficult when you've got some health issues. But now that you know, you shouldn't be taking those anyway. But while we're waiting on Shannon, we will. I know everybody's been watching the news. There's been a lot of stuff that's gone on in the past 10 days, and there's supposed to be a lot of stuff broadcast about blowing of trumpets. I'm not watching that. I'm not partaking in that. I did watch the Charlie Kirk Memorial on Sunday, which I thought was a great gathering of Christians inside and outside of that stadium and all around the world for that matter. It can never hurt to have that many people with a positive thought process of prayer. Oh, sorry, my phone's going off. Let me mute that right quick so it doesn't interrupt us. Let's see while we're waiting on Shannon. Let's look at the comments here. Mike, your eye changes color depending on the environment. Mine do too. Depends on the picture. If I'm in fluorescent lights, they're one color. If I'm in incandescent light, they're another color. If I'm outside in sunshine, they're a different color. I always just thought it was the camera. I recently learned here a couple of years ago that nope, it's not. But Master TV, the ET, has quite a bit of information on this halogroup stuff. So you have some genetic knowledge. Maybe I need to pick your brain. You may ease my rabbit hole digging on this one. The Grey clan from Skibu is said to be an ancient bloodline. There are some people that say that this particular bloodline ended up in the Moravian dynasty, in that royalty. I don't know. I'm digging down the hole. Hey, Super Dave, are you in there? Oh, I see you, Super Dave. Connie, William. I'm digging down this rabbit hole trying to figure out how rare is this halogroup when you have particular genetic markers. Where did they come from? So now I've gone back and I'm trying to dig through and trace the steps of Mary Magdalene, and there were two other Marys with her, as well as a supposed servant girl who looked like she may have been of African or Egyptian descent. Like I said, not sure. I intended to do a lot more research today than we got to, but as usual, my day kind of went sideways. It tends to do that on me sometimes when we're going to have a show. But The Basque region over in Spain is a very unique area, especially for those of us with Rh negative blood. They still have their own language. They're kind of, um, and it's right on the France and Spain border. If you've never looked into it, it's in the Pyrenees Mountains. Beautiful country over there. One of these days, I'm gonna win the lottery and be able to travel over there where my dad's people came from. But I am, and Master TV, you may be able to assist me with this because I've recently learned about how mitochondrial DNA, the mother pretty much wipes out a lot of the father's DNA when you're conceived. Um, have the 100 priests blowing their horn. I don't know, Carol. I have kind of done my absolute best today to just not watch any of that. After, and we're on here, so you can only say certain words and talk about certain things. But recently, after I've realized how much economically that, and I'm not going to say people because that is a government. I know logic before authority needs a mod over there. Where are we getting some? We're getting some issues over there. Uh, let's see. I'm looking at it. Yeah, I saw Erica flashing the horns. I was looking, guys. Don't be ugly in the comments. I've got to go in there and figure out how I'm supposed to Super Dave. You might be able to help me with that because I got to go in and set mods for my channel. I've just never done that yet. Let's see. William. I will have Daniel to look up gematria. That's kind of his department, astrology and gematria. I look to Daniel for that. Daniel is my, I guess you call him mentor, advisor. I always go to Daniel. He's been doing this long, long before I ever awakened. And I don't know about you guys, but I actually spoke with a young lady today, complete stranger, on the phone. Never met her. She was helping me with a situation with my insurance, and we started having a conversation. And she is awake. She is aware. She was not until here recently, and she complains about many of the same things we do. That you feel like all of a sudden your family has just become a little distant, and you can't really have a conversation with them because you're just not interested in having surface level conversations now that you understand and see and know so much more about the world. And when you try to have that conversation with them, they look like something thrown out of your ears. So it's I'm beginning to realize that we are much more of a community to support each other and to share ideas. The big thing is supporting each other because one of the things I have figured out now that I am awake, it's not easy. It's just not easy, folks. Some days we see all the puzzle pieces now and we put them together and we realize that the majority of what we were taught as children and young adults is a lie. It is just a lie. And so now we're going back trying to dig through the the murk. I hear you, Enoch. I know I'm not at home today, so my audio is not going to be as good as it usually is. I don't have my sound room. I'm at a farm in an office with a window unit, air conditioning going. I had to come out and run errands, so this was a throw the laptop and the mic in a bag and call butt tonight to get over here because I had to run some errands. It's just been one of those days. I planned to have a presentation, but I don't think I'm ready to fully present this because I want to learn more about it. I just want to have an open conversation about it tonight. I'm sure there are some of you out there who may have already been down this rabbit hole or know more info or have got to, um, you know, point me in a better direction. I am currently searching for anything I can find about Mary Magdalene and what happens in her life after the resurrection of Jesus. And I've usually got about 4 things going on. So at the moment, I'm reading the Book of Enoch. I'm down this genetic rabbit hole, the Mary rabbit hole, and still trying to watch everything else that's going on, plus all of our regular shows. So that's just what life is about at the moment. Let's see, I'm looking at the comments. Master TV, you are on it, but I can't read all of this and talk. My brain won't work that fast tonight. So, oh goodness, shoot me an email. Roxy'sNewLife@gmail.com. Send me an email. We'll have a conversation. What are you not buying at Girl Scout? What are you not buying? The Erica or the Charlie? I don't buy the whole Charlie. I have listened. I didn't even know about Charlie until a year or two ago, and Willie brought him to my attention because of one of his campus speeches. It was some things he said. And have you now, Cash? I just don't believe the storyline. My first trigger was when his friend, who has her own show, and her name starts with a C, last name is Owen, um, and his wife, the response, the reaction, the way they spoke, I just didn't fully see it as genuine. I don't know, but if my person, my best friend, my husband, whomever he was to me, if this had happened to him in front of the world, I don't know that I would have been able to hold it together to speak, much less the way I've seen some of these people act. And this young man had a true love of God, and he spoke of God, and he didn't mind telling anybody about it. I don't know. He just seemed to be, I don't know. I just feel like he was so important to their life that I don't know, just their reaction seemed a little fake to me. And then the story of how this happened and what kind of pew pew it was, and I got all kind of questions. I grew up in the South. In the South, you shoot a deer with one of them things, and it ain't gonna be nothing. I mean, it's gonna be messy if it's not done right, or it's going all the way through. But anyway, there's a million questions about it. The thing I find so interesting is as a population, you can tell that we're awake now, because back in New York, when those 2 things fell after some things supposedly hit them, it took us years to question that narrative. If you question that narrative or that story, you were crazy. You needed a straitjacket. It's just a conspiracy theory. And we've talked about this before. Conspiracy theory and tinfoil hat. Both of those terms were invented by the intelligence agency to make us sound crazy so that we would be dismissed. And I don't know, most of our audience is Gen X or younger, so do you remember the Inquirer magazine that you used to get at the grocery store? The Inquirer, the Star. My grandma used to get them things every time we went to town. She would read them from front to back. And I remember as a kid on the front of the Inquirer, it was like, alien abducts woman in Kansas. I'm like, whatever. Now when you go back and you think about some of them stories, maybe the stories were real, not exactly how they happened. But it's kind of like that soft disclosure thing that we see in the movies where they put it right in front of our face. And yes, Paris, the whole thing is fishy to me. It doesn't work for me. The I have a whole theory about it. Y'all know who I am about puzzle pieces. I think this young man was on Discord, and he got a hold of a group, and he got talked into doing something, and there's a bigger group of them. And I think he may have had that pew pew, and I think he may have gone on that route. But I'm pretty sure what he was shooting didn't have no babang, no real babang in it. Look at what's written on one of the bullets. Notice bulges. Blank. Was it a blank? because we've already determined from what we've seen that it couldn't have, it probably didn't come from that angle. So who did it? And if he actually thinks he pulled it and he made it happen, then of course he thinks he's guilty. Anyway, long story. We have got completely off from where we started. Sorry, we ended up down the CK road there. Um, let's see, Tommy. They have to tell mine. They do so with symbols, numbers, colors, handshakes, and hand gestures. Yep, everything they do. Everything they do. They are putting it out there in our face for their friends to see it, to signal their friends. Um, and it's like watching a baseball coach a lot of times, even when they're in these hearings and committee meetings, and you see them and they read something that, like Cash Patel the other day, he was sitting there at a hearing. He's got a piece of paper in front of him and he's reading it, and all of a sudden he looks up and eyeballs the camera dead on and takes a really deep breath with this worried look on his face. And then he reaches over and he pulls his ear. He flips the page, he reads the next page, he looks back up in the camera with this like totally worried look in his face, takes his glasses off, reaches over, and does not try to hide it as he pulls on his earlobe. So something's going on. Hey Tina, thank you for joining us. Yeah, there are so many rabbit holes, Paris. I literally, y'all, when I get up in the morning, I fix me something to eat and I go get in a rabbit hole. I try to direct those rabbit holes towards whatever show we've got going on. I'm the legal pad queen. I got stacks of them. So when I end up woohooing from here, I hope my children do something good with them, because for the past 6 months, every day, I've nearly filled up a legal pad with the lies that I have discovered. Uh, I started I started in, well, my first rabbit hole was Tesla, the inventor, not the car. What happened with him, and then the next thing you know, I was off to Antarctica, and then I was in World War II, and then hey, Wayne the Pain, and then, you know what I mean? It was just like this constant weaving, and then you're down the, oh my gosh, the rabbit holes never end. But the theory is, like Super Davis told us, this is all a movie. It's all central casting. Some of these rabbit holes are to distract us. Some of these rabbit holes are real. You just gotta have, um, Shannon, I emailed it to you, babe. Hang on, and I'll email it again. But you just gotta. Sometimes it's hard. It's hard to decipher a real rabbit hole from something that's just over there got you chasing your tail. I mean, it just is. You never know, and we don't know that the truth we think we're discovering is truth that's actually true, or that's another saw they put out there. That's the sad thing about the world today. We shouldn't have to consider all of this as to whether everything is real or not, because you can't even trust what you see anymore to be real. No, you could not fake the worship. That was one of the reasons I watched it. The We have discovered so much, guys, that about our consciousness and manifesting and positive thoughts and our vibration. See, when I grew up, I was born in the 70s. Trump has blew it. U.S. versus Russia, World War III, now inevitable. I don't know. I haven't been down that rabbit hole today. Yes, you have to pray for discernment. There we go, Shannon. This girl. Welcome, Shannon. Welcome to the show this evening. Can you hear me, dear? You and that microphone, woman. There we go. Hey, Shannon. I heard her. I don't know if she hears us. But you have to have severe discernment with anything in this world anymore, because it doesn't matter. Unless you've seen it with your own eyes, you have no concrete proof that it happened. And anytime I go searching in something in history, I take it from this perspective. If there are 10 people standing on a corner when a traffic accident happens, you take all 10 witness statements. Every single one of them saw it from a different perspective. They have a little different story on it. So then you take those 10 stories and you overlap them, and where those details meet up, then you can pretty much figure you're coming close to the truth. Can you hear us, Shannon? I can hear you. But taking those 10 stories and overlapping them to find the truth is about the only chance we've got for real truth. Because now we've learned that a majority of the books that have been put in front of us, even the King James Version of the Bible, has been heavily edited. That if you want a true composition of the Bible, that you need to go back to the Ethiopian Bible, because Christianity was there long before it came to Europe. There are many books in there that were pulled out at the Council of Nicaea. Are you there now, Shannon?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I know I was there for a minute, but it was like no sound. Oops.
We figured you'd figure it out. We were just kind of
Mhm.
going. We were just having a general discussion. We were discussing the Charlie thing and how you can't believe anything that's seen in front of you. Um,
Amen to that.
we have a lot of our regular group and a few new people in here. Yes,
Hello.
Master. I'm pretty sure Charlie was a Freemason. I don't know if I should have said that whole word. Should have, Shannon. Anything anymore um is dangerous to say online. You'll get substacked right quick like into a whole different category. So we have to be very, very careful. Carol says hello.
Hello.
How is your day doing today, Shannon?
Well, I am a bit sore in my mouth region. I just got braces and I'm adjusting to them,
So
so it
you're a
might
metal
sound a
mouth,
little
honey.
weird.
See?
Well, partial metal mouth, and then the rest is Invisalign. It's complicated. It's a complicated thing, but it's not pleasant. Wish I would have done this as a kid, but it's all good. I'm gonna getting it done now. Woo!
Well, as long as you're getting it done.
Yep, it will help me to prevent, losing my teeth. So I'm going for it. Yeah.
Absolutely go for it because you can't get them back. I've seen a lot of things about some toothpaste and stuff that help now to remineralize your teeth. And I don't know if you all know it or not, but a lot of the demineralization of our teeth has been in drinking water. That stuff they put in there that said it was going to make you so much better. No, it's not. No, it is not. We might as well go ahead and bring this subject up before we get too deep into anything. So, what's everybody's thoughts on the whole announcement yesterday on the acetaminophen and autism? What's your feelings on that, Shannon? Anything you want to speak on, or you want to pass?
Well, I've had a lot of struggles in that department. It was nice to hear them admit it, but it's like even in the past with other things, 50 years later or so many years later, they're like, oops, sorry, we did this to
My
you
bad.
through that pokey thing that we told you was so great. That I mean, it's several times that you've heard these apologies, and what's sad is it's like, yeah, I just wish that something would actually be done about it, but that's never going to happen, at least not in a safe and better way, because the things that they're pushing for, I mean, it's great that they're admitting that these things are bad and they're apologizing and all that kind of stuff, but the direction and where they are going with this is more terrifying to me than even what they've got going now. So it's like, thanks for admitting it, but your plan now, can you explain how this is going to be any better,
Well, and I know in our group chat we were talking about it, and some of us are angry, and I'm angry. Don't get me wrong. I have an autistic son that I have felt since day one in 1997 or 98, whenever it was that he took that stick, it was like you flipped the light switch in my kid's eyes. And now that I think of it, one of the reasons at that time is so particular for me to remember it, he was preemie. So we had been playing the catch up game, with everything with him because he was preemie. And so the day he gets that shot, yeah, the sticky, I almost said that out loud, didn't I? The day he gets the sticky, he had to get multiples. And we had fever issues that night because I almost ended up taking him to the emergency room because of the fever. Ended up putting him in the bathtub. The next day he was different. Like, I knew as a mother that something had changed. He looked healthy, he acted healthy, but it was like the light went off in his eyes or something. Like something wasn't connecting anymore. And I read a bunch of articles last night that when you take the sticky and you add the acetaminophen, that it's just like the combination of the two is like wildfire for burning whatever neural path that is. Now, this thing that they're saying that will treat it, I've not looked into it. I don't know what it is, don't know where it comes from. But you got to give another sticky to fix the first sticky. You create the chaos and you sell the cure. That's my problem with it.
Yeah, I have a lot of hurt, anger, including with what I went through personally with those things, and my schedule is so much. What we grew up with in the 80s and 90s is so much less even than what the generations are dealing with now on that level. And the rise in autism, the rise in a lot of other disorders, a lot of things, medical issues. A lot of it has to do with the gut biome too. There's a lot of study out there that helps you to learn how to detox from these things. But there are things that they have been putting in there that, according to their paperwork on it, their own writings, that are immortal and can continuously reproduce, and things along the lines of the C word,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's an astrological sign named after it. So it's there's some really weird stuff that they put in there. And my husband is a biochemist, and he looked at all the things put in there and went, that's unnecessary. That's weird. No,
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
I've seen one of them that like somebody took two of the natural ingredients that you put in it, and when you
Mm-hmm.
combined them together, what it did on the plate was crazy because it looked like you had took baking soda and vinegar and put them together. This was part of the mercury that was in it and something else or silver nitrate. I can't remember what it was. You know how it is. You see something, you keep on moving. You're like, that's a rabbit hole I can't take today. I ain't got time for that, Jesus. Let me go somewhere else that's more important. But the
Right.
things that I watched a guy today, and he was on the board of a big food company, and this was 25 years ago. And he said that what everybody needs to understand is that even though food company A and pharma company B are not the same company, that the same people that run food company A are on the board of directors on pharma company B. And that they would sit down and have a meeting and said, okay, we've got these three additives that we're going to put in. Additive number one causes very little risk, to humans. Additive number two and three are the exact same. But when you put all three of these together, kind of like what we're talking about with this, when you put the acetaminophen in something, it causes a whole new problem. He said, and we've noticed that, about 5 or 7 years after they consume this, they start getting leg twitching and they can't sleep at night. So you're going to need to be prepared with a med to treat the side effect of our food. So they put the additives in the food. 5 years later, you get restless leg, and they give you the med for it. They already had the med developed because they knew what it was going to do when they put it in the food.
Mm-hmm.
How sick and twisted is that?
Well, and we mentioned this. Was it the last show that we did together about how my grandmother grew up in an orphanage in the 1920s during the Great Depression in New York City, and she had polio, and she was one of the first group of children to get the very first poke for that particular thing, the one that wasn't pasteurized. And what they say is supposedly some children died because it wasn't pasteurized, so they had taken it away, even though it did help quite a few of the other kids, like my grandmother who survived. It ended up in the hands of two other companies in a race to try and develop, it's either two or three companies to try and develop a pasteurized better version of it. And that's when you see an uprise and an uptick in Africa with their epidemic with the ABC word. I'm just not gonna say
Yep,
it completely.
yep.
um and
Well, we know
which
who
they're
owns the patent for that ABC word.
exactly right, same guy as just
Yep,
recently.
Smoochy Woochie. He owns the patent on
Hmm.
that one.
And they, of course, you know there was a study done on the couple of companies that were running, and they found that the company that was testing it out in Africa had some other anomaly in it that wasn't in the other two. But yet somehow that company, the one that was testing out in Africa, got the contract for the whole lot of it. And there they found, and back then, and a very, very high profile magazine covered this a long time ago, which I believe that journalists ended up getting fired or some heavy repercussions for it. But they discovered that the the ABC thing going on out there is different than what we experienced when it came out here.
Oh, absolutely. They modified it. They
Right.
had
And
learned. They modified.
so the testing ground for these said things was in that other area. And I do find it very interesting, though, that they knew there was this other element that wasn't in the other things in these other companies' versions, but they chose the one that had this extra additive. That then you see this pop up of the ABC thing going on in Africa. So,
Hmm.
you know, you put so many things together, it's going to come out with the full picture in
Well,
the
and
end.
I don't know if you're looking at comments, but Connie just made the comment that Billy Goat said they want to put it in the sky, and they've
Uh
already
huh.
put it in the food.
Yeah.
But my question is, why would Billy Goat, and thank you, Connie, that's what we're going to call him in the future, is
I
Billy
love
Goat.
it.
I love Billy Goat.
Yes.
Or
Yep.
not him, but I love the word, Connie.
Yep.
Good job. New word. It's amazing how we're having to come up with our own language to have a conversation. That tells you right there that free speech is gone. But anyway, um, those people can't stand Billy Goat. Other continents, when they see Billy Goat coming saying, I want to help, they're like, no, 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 thank you. No, thank you. If you want to know who is the healthiest, go look at who's the healthiest in our country. That would be the Amish. They don't eat the produce food. They don't go to the medicine places that have been, you know, educated by the people who are in cahoots for the stickies. They don't give the stickies. They live in their own world. They don't care about our government or our medical or our food. They're the healthiest people in the country. Every other continent and country in the world treats their citizens for parasites. Ours doesn't because they can make money off of it. If they tell you that it's parasites, then you're not going to need to go back to that office again and get a refill.
See, I would even go as far as to say that it's not even so much that they don't care about us, that they have pure hatred for us and want us unalived and no longer existing.
Oh, absolutely.
So
And
that is like the ultimate agenda. And I like to remind people they actually had it carved in stone for quite some time in our face before it was mysteriously destroyed right before said, you know,
imagine that. Just
thing,
kaboom. Just
lockdown
kaboom.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
They and as usual, they put it right in front of your face. I had this I had a conversation with my 30-year-old today, and he kind of looks at me, like, "Are you crazy, mom?" Because we went from magnetic ley lines to Sasquatch to where else was it? We went. I mean, it was just one thing to the other. I'm like, okay, you need to go watch this channel. And watch this channel. Don't be watching this guy because he's a little woo. We're not gonna watch him because he's getting interested, which is a good thing for me. He's getting interested. He's asking questions. He's like, "Is this real? Is this real?" And the look on his face the other day, I said, "Well, all those toy dinosaurs you played with?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "They are not correct." I said, "They have no idea if that's what they look like. We're pretty sure that they were dragons. They were not dinosaurs. That T Rex didn't have little arms. Them was the stubs for his big wings, folks."
Yeah, wasn't it? They didn't start using that term, right, until like the late 1800s or early
Yeah, they
1900s.
yeah, they needed an explanation for all the stuff they were finding in archaeology. And you
Oh,
found bones. You
that is
found
a
bones.
fun rabbit hole, by
I
the
ain't got
way.
time for that rabbit hole, Shannon. We done got off on three other rabbit holes besides what
No,
this show was
that's
supposed to be about.
oh, for another time for sure. But you want to talk about a really fun one is going down the archaeological cover up train and
Oh
who's
my
behind
goodness.
all that. Yeah, that's fun.
I
That's
have
fun.
recently found myself down as well the fallen angel
Mm-hmm.
rabbit hole and the 200 impact craters and Kazakhstan and their pyramid where the religious world leaders meet every third year. You just happen to have a table that seats exactly 200 people in a circle at the top of this pyramid in Kazakhstan, which is a
Mm-hmm.
completely flat plain.
Well,
Hello?
and not to mention too that they was it the UN? They actually have a base on Mount Herman,
Oh, yeah.
which I
Yeah.
find very interesting.
Hmm. But this is not where we started at
I
45 minutes ago, folks.
know.
We
That's
we
because I
spent
got
10.
on.
Well, no, see, y'all don't know. I know y'all see me and Shannon and Daniel all together on time on air. When we are not, when the only time we really get to talk is when we're on air because we spend so much time down the rabbit hole. Then we have to, we spend time
And
with our
taking
family and
care
our
of
children.
family. Yep.
Yeah, and personal. So when we get online, it's like, "Oh, girl, where you been at?" That's what our whole day comes to. So I guess y'all just get to sit through the Roxy and Shannon catch up.
I'm not even talking that much, guys, because I hurt.
Her
So.
mouth is sore. Her mouth is sore, and it has been one of those kind of strange days at my house. We've seen some stuff on the security camera, not weird things, just a weird car. I want to know who you are. I will find out. But anyway, yes, Trump is at the UN now. We talked about this back on the, I think, Supernatural show about a month ago when we were looking at today's date. And that was one of the big things that we saw that a lot of world leaders were going to be at that UN council. Trump kind of got up on stage yesterday and he said, "Y'all people can't do nothing right in here." He said, "Y'all can't even keep the escalator working. You like to wipe out the first lady." He's like, "Y'all can't even make a teleprompter work and an escalator work." He said, "How y'all supposed to do something for the world? Y'all can't even make this work." I mean, he called them chumps, straight to their face, called them chumps. But anyway, yeah, the UN Council and the trumpets and Charlie, and it's like Molotov cocktails coming at us anymore. But the
Hmm.
thing is, these are the things we're seeing. You have to watch that other hand for what they're over there disclosing that we don't see. I haven't, and y'all know how much I like to decode Ingersoll Lockwood. I have not been on there today. If that tells you, I go every day, twice a day, to see what they change. I want to know because sometimes I'm not following what they say, but the post that they link, because they'll link to release CIA document or three-letter agency documents. I like to go read those. What are they? Do you apply to the other 279 rabbit holes that I have legal pads on?
Sorry.
Well, I'm telling you, when I leave this place, I hope somebody related to me can take all of my legal pads and put them in something for somebody, because they something in there. I'm telling you, every day, just a legal pad, just notes, 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 rambling of notes of stuff I'm finding. Wow.
Well, I am sure someone's going to for sure. I mean, like my dad, all of his stuff like that, he was very into water conservation and cleaning up stuff. Every single note he ever made on any of that, he kept, and I have, which is great because I know I have written in there on how to desalinate water, to filter it out to make it drinkable,
This is a
all those
question for
kinds
the
of things.
audience. I don't know how many of you TikTok. I TikTok. I don't TikTok a lot, but I like to go on there because you can kind of gauge the vibe of things going on by TikTok. Did anybody else run across like 900 videos of how to an F-16 and a Black Hawk and a Warhog and a tank and
I
how to make
totally did
fuel
not
and
see this. I was hoping
girl,
you were gonna send a video, and I
did
was
I
like,
not send you
"Where?"
any? I will
No.
be sending you. I'm telling you, I have the one for the F-16, the Black Hawk, the Tiger tank, how to make gasoline from plastic, how to avoid heat cameras, and they were all
Speaking,
done. They were all done in like these little military cadence, kind of like a nursery rhyme.
right?
And what those nursery rhymes do, folks, is it bores it into your mind and makes it more memorable. That's why when we tell children nursery rhymes, we do it with a cadence, with a song, even like singing the alphabet. You know how it's a song. But yeah, those were crazy. Those were crazy. I'm sending them to you, Shannon. I will send them tonight when we get off of here. But as usual, like I said, folks, we are way off track from where we started. Welcome to the Roxy and Shannon show. Okay, we were we were talking about the path of Mary and this genetic anomaly that I have learned about, and somebody is trying to tie this genetic anomaly to Mary Magdalene. So I am interested in going down the rabbit hole to see what truth there is in that, what proof there is in that. And so before I can even take that trail, I need to know about Mary Magdalene and where did Mary go? I know from what I can find in history that she got in a boat with no sail and no oars, and Lazarus and two other Marys and possibly a servant woman, and she goes over towards Spain, where she ends up living with her sister, I think it was, and she ends up as a hermit in a cave, and the whole time she's preaching the gospel. Some of the apostles spoke down about it because women weren't supposed to carry that knowledge or preach or teach on it. Um, what do you know about it, Shannon?
Can you hear me? Just okay, good. There was some audio thing. I just fixed it. Um, I read up a lot. I mean, I read the Holy Blood, Holy Grail book about 15 years ago. I mean, there was a point in time I was kind of into the whole Dan Brown series.
Uh huh.
Um, I found it to be very intriguing, and I do know that there is some truth to some of these things.
I came up with two other Marys. Let me see if I can pull my document up. I found two other Marys that were supposedly with her, which I think may have been her sisters. I'm not sure. Like I said, I have just begun this rabbit hole, and so I'm asking that anybody that's got any direction of where they can point me beyond the normal sources to find some of this stuff. Um, some of the Coptic and Greek manuscripts mention the Gospel of Mary. Evidently, there's a Gospel of Mary that they've only found giblets of. I don't know if they have the whole thing. She was portrayed as a follower, but not as a teacher or a leader. She comforted the disciples after Jesus' resurrection, but then she goes and shares secret teachings given to her in a vision from Jesus. And basically, Peter questions her authority as to how or why she thought she had the right to do that. Evidently, her vision said that the soul rises upward, seeking a return to the divine, that it would face power or obstacles, which were forces of ignorance, fear, lust, and attachment, but that the soul must recognize and overcome this to ascend. Liberation comes from self-knowledge and inner awakening. Well, from what I'm gathering there, if that's what Mary said, I mean, that's what we're all discovering now, right? And that she taught that sin comes from ignorance of your true spiritual nature, not just breaking the rules. And that you had to know yourself and that the divine was within. And that fear and attachment would keep your soul trapped. Overcoming this makes you free. So I see that Peter challenges Mary in all of the books I'm reading. He questioned whether Jesus would have even spoken privately with a woman, or he says, why would Jesus speak privately with her and not privately with each of us? I don't know. Sound like, I don't know. I weren't there, but sounds like Peter was a little jealous. I don't know. Um, she was remembered as a powerful spiritual teacher, not just a background figure. And I don't even think she was called a prostitute until like some pope later in time called her that, correct? Do you know if that's true, Shannon? Did I lose Shannon again? Let's see. Must be lost Shannon. She must be lost her mic again. But this is my question. What we have proof of supposedly where Mary traveled to and lived until the end of her life, which is very close to this vast region of Spain, which is connected to this unique genetic haplogroup. One of the things about being Rh negative, they have now come up with a shot, from pharmacia to stop this problem. But
Fixed.
there,
Sorry.
there you go. If you're
God.
Rh negative and your first child will normally, your pregnancy will be fine, be perfect. Second child, before the rhodium shot, your pregnancy would automatically try to terminate before 29 weeks. It was as though something in your body was telling you that you were only supposed to have one child. Well, if you take a genetic line from then to now of someone who was Rh negative, and each person in their family can only have one child, that is going to severely limit your lineage. Back then, people had 10 and 20 children, and all of a sudden, you've taken this person and limited them to one child. And it's on the woman's side is where the limiting seems to come from.
I was to answer your question earlier that yes, it was a Catholic decision, a Roman Catholic Vatican type decision to call Mary Magdalene a prostitute. And there are several Marys that are referenced in the Bible that are not all Mary Magdalene. But what I did want to say about the Gospel of Mary and what Peter is talking about is back then, of course, women only had so many rights. Um, you know, we couldn't speak up in church. There was a lot to be said because the man is the head of the household. So he speaks for the woman, those kinds of things. And so he was very upset that Jesus would consider her worthy enough as a woman to be an apostle, and that she was actually one of his closest apostles for a female. But I do think it's important to recognize that because he was trying to teach everyone, whether we're women or men, we all have the right of salvation. He died for us all, and he was close to her and teaching her the ways that were important for women and how they are to be in the kingdom of God and their purpose in the kingdom of God. And for Peter, that was very hard for him to accept because she was a female. I mean, they were told to leave their wives and their families behind to follow Jesus and all of those things. But here Jesus is taking a woman companion and giving her an apostleship and being close to her and teaching her things that are important for the women in the godly kingdom of Christ and salvation. So it's a very touchy subject matter for any rabbinical Jewish man, Orthodox Jewish people. They're very, and this is no disrespect, but they are very staunch on, women can't touch a rabbi or a man of a certain caliber. You can't go and shake hands or give hugs. There's just a lot of separation between the men and the women, and along those lines.
Well, and I don't know. I know we do have some women viewers in the audience out there. Does everybody understand where the feminist movement come from? Who was behind it?
Oh, I
Who
sure do.
I do. Who funded it? Who pushed it? And what was the purpose? Prior to the feminist movement, women stayed at home, men went to work. Women watched and educated their own children. They kept their own house. There was this American dream that was sold to us that you needed a house, a picket fence, 2.5 kids, and a dog. I don't know where that point 5 kid comes from, but I guess that's on the average. Maybe that's the neighbor's kid that you helped raise halfway. I don't know. The grandparents were involved, absolutely, sir. You were talking about the right group up there. The parents were involved, the grandparents were involved, there were family units. In a family unit where the man is the leader and the woman, okay, when you have a group of people, everybody can't talk at the same time. This
Mm-mm.
is the reason for a leader in a household, that the woman submits to the man. No, it does not mean she's his slave or she's toting or fetching or acting any certain way. It means that they discuss it. She values his opinion, he values her, but he is the one that speaks for the household. He is the leader of the household. The whole reason of the feminist movement coming along, that we needed to burn our bras, was exactly right. They needed two people in that house working to pay the bills and to collect taxes on. Well, the next thing you know, there's so much depravity being pushed at all of us that now you're lucky if you even find a household where there's a man and a wife in it and only one of them works. Because even if they're still married and all of this social media hasn't destroyed their relationship, it takes two incomes to live in one crappy house in this country.
Yeah, and that barely cuts it even, for a lot
Yeah,
of
you're not
people.
buying the
Imagine
good
living
stuff at
in
the grocery store.
California.
This is not the American dream, folks. I'm telling you.
But too, to realize when that happened, because again, it wasn't anything to do with women. It's a bunch of gay men in their brotherhoods who funded and pushed the whole feminist movement, which again, no disrespect for anybody on whatever team, not saying anything. I'm just saying that it was ruining the way we raise our children and what spawned from that, it was the state that now took care of our children, now
The
educated our children.
indoctrination centers.
Exactly.
That's what
And
I
that
call
was,
them.
it's a huge thing because that's how, I mean, that's how they make change. It's not right away. They do it through generational propaganda, through generational conditioning. They take your children and they have patience to groom them and indoctrinate them into certain mindsets with their propaganda and their consumerism. And then the children grow up and become leaders, and that's how things happen.
The indoctrination brings along more ego than you can believe. You have 8 and 9-year-olds out there now worried about what kind of clothes they're wearing, what they look like, what kind of backpack they have, what kind of Yeti cup they're walking around toting. It is it. Oh, I could go on and on about these centers because I actually went to
Right.
one this morning and was expected to be escorted out. It was not good. I
Wow.
go up to deliver my grandchild's glasses, which she left at home. I pull up to the front door. I'm standing there at the front door waving at the little dude with his vest on, like, hey, Mr. Security Man, hello. He's too busy scrolling TikTok to even know that a grown adult with a bag in their hand is standing at the front door waving at him. You, sir, are not doing your job. First off, the state forces us to send them there. You say you're going to protect them, and then you put a 90-year-old in there that's scrolling TikTok instead of patrolling the school. Folks, they estimate future population by your third grader's reading level. They know exactly from those third grade test scores how many spots and how many prisons they're going to need in the future when they graduate for your child as to whether they're going to prison or not. Then they take those three-letter agencies and they work in cahoots with these other countries and they puff our country full of the things that people get hooked on and ruin their lives and turn their back on God and turn their back on everything. Those are the problems. It's an indoctrination center. That's all it is.
Amen to that. But again, that's part of taking away the family unit, causing problems between a husband and wife, getting your children taken away from you and being educated some other way. I mean, sure they come home to you, but I mean, think about it. I don't know how many of you guys deal with young ones anywhere from the age of 3 to 17. When they're home, they're not present. They're on their devices, they're doing whatever. They're not always engaged in reality, and you're still losing your child's focus and attention and ability to connect with them even at home now because they're so
And the
sucked into the system.
Absolutely. And when you take one of those electronic devices from them, you get an attitude. Like you get a whole withdrawal situation going on. I watched it. I witnessed it. I mean, it's a whole situation. They'll catch an attitude. Those grandkids of mine, they got them little digital pads took from them the other day, and it was a whole like 48 hours before the sour attitude washed away.
There was a time, okay, when we had the fires out here, out in LA, and they shut off all of our electricity just in case so we didn't catch on fire, supposedly, all of these things, right? The kids literally the second they found out the power went out, we're like, bye, we're out, we're going to our grandparents, they have electricity and internet, I have too much schoolwork to do, I have blah blah blah. Like they could not even stand to be in the house for like 10 seconds knowing that the internet and electricity were down. And I mean, I had like a little camp out party. I was like checking out the stars. I was having a blast going, I love this. It's so quiet and peaceful. And I can see stuff in the sky without all the lights. And I mean, I had a great time, but the kids were like, we're out. We can't do this.
Mm-mm. And you are correct. One of our viewers said BLM in its bio says to destroy the nuclear family. Well, now you know who created feminism. They are the
Mm-hmm.
same people that funded BLM and still do to this day with your tax dollars, no less, through these NGOs. Our tax dollars go into NGOs, which are non governmental offices and agencies, to go out and help fund whatever theater troupe in France, and they give them $9 million. Just so you know, just so everybody's clear, that theater group ain't never seen our tax dollars. This is so that they can take those funds and put them into things that we would not agree with, things that are geared and engineered towards us to destroy the nuclear family, to destroy your connection with each other. And the same people that started that BLM and feminism, they just happen to be the people that own the two biggest porn sites on the internet.
Mm-hmm. This is the hub one, and I don't know the others because
Hmm.
I've only heard of the one.
They
So,
own it. They're pushing it. And they had absolutely, up until here recently, evidently, had no safety guards as far as anybody seeing anything. When you just went to the page, it was there. I guess now you have to put an ID or a credit card or something in. But heck, if you're a slick 14-year-old, all you gotta do is go in your mom's wallet while she's asleep, take her driver's license or credit card. Who knows? It Yes, they put a gate on it, but I don't think it's a gate that's hard to cross. But they are pushing this stuff at our children, even in these video games that they're playing. What is the one? The blocks one.
oh,
I
girl,
Oh yeah.
you go down the train of kids
Mm,
YouTube and things like Elsa Gate and all that kind of stuff, and it's like these videos out there are so creepy and so much worse even than the stuff you see in the adult world, and it's like this is being shown to our kids. This is a thing.
well, and now I've gone back and I've looked at some of the stuff. The Amanda Bynes girl, the little show that she had.
Mm-hmm.
I've now gone back and looked at some of her shows, and I'm like, why is that? Because you just didn't put it all together at the time, and it's a kid show. It's not something we're interested in. We assume our teenagers are in there watching it. It's on that channel, so at that time, which you might have at that time, I did not know that the little place with the round ears was, sitting on the right hand of the dirty dark man,
Mm-hmm.
and now that you go back and you look at it, you're like, oh, I see it. I see it so blatantly right there. But our kids were watching it and we weren't paying attention.
Well, we were watching things like you know what as I had mentioned in my testimony, a lot of the things that were triggered, a lot of the things that I saw and experienced were from old kid shows from the Nick channel and the Mouse Ear Guy channel and things from all growing up, all throughout stuff. And it triggered horrific things. And I mean, the Mickey guy, that guy, he's been around for over 100 years in the
Yeah, and
media. So,
anybody wants to fall down a rabbit hole, go figure out how Mickey and Minnie Mouse are related. That'll show you.
oh yeah, how they make cheese.
Well, you know they're brother and sister, right?
Yeah, which is creepy
Mm-hmm.
because there was always
Mm-hmm.
a romantic
Mm-hmm.
insinuation, which
Mm-hmm.
again, if you guys haven't, and I'm not trying to do a shameless plug on your show at all, but if you at least some of the stuff that I'm talking about here and the things that I saw and experienced in my testimony with these particular Nick and Mickey, I'll just call them Nick and Mickey from now on.
The
Uh,
devilish duo.
yeah, and the things that I've come to find out is when you really look into it, there are a whole slew of Mickey videos out there that have that are not out in the public. Everyone knows about the banned ones, but there's like a vaulted group of videos that are specifically for children who are part of these programs, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And those, they existed for that specific purpose, and they're vaulted away. It's not just the banned stuff that a lot of people have seen circulate on there, but there are a few videos that have circulated with one of the very first female stars in their in the Mickey videos, like the live
Mm-hmm.
action ones. When
Mm-hmm.
you really go down that train, and I believe her name was Virginia, you see that there is a whole lot of media that was filmed, vaulted away for specific purposes, for specific programs in children. But that being said, it's interlaced in the stuff that's in mainstream. But
All of it's interlaced.
all of it's interlaced. But again, like, so, like, a lot of the actors and actresses that have come from Mickey um have been put in these films and these kinds of things. So it's a very because they've been making them at least up until like the 70s and 80s. I guarantee you they're probably still making them.
Oh
But
yeah.
there's some really old school ones that are quite interesting. And again, there
Mm-hmm.
are a few out there if any of you are interested to look for them.
Well, Cash, I was seeing your comments, buddy, but I can't comment and read and hold a conversation with Shannon. I'm good, but I ain't quite that good. Because we have gotten completely off track of where we started. And me and Shannon just start on this. We tend to be like, listen, folks, this is a bad thing, and look, but we know a lot of y'all are already aware.
Well, there is definitely, to bring it back to the Mary Magdalene subject matter, there's definitely something special and secret that she knew from Jesus personally, had a personal relationship with him as a disciple, as an apostle, even though she was a female. I don't know if I really, the whole him having children thing is still something I'm trying to decipher, to really discern and understand, because there's some things that bother me about it. But the main thing that you understand from her is that he was showing women what it is in the kingdom of God that they are there for, because women for the longest time were considered to be, I mean, like Eve, they're the downfall of all man, you know? We're the
Correct.
seducers, we're the ones that tend to be the downfall of man in many of these biblical stories. So the fact that he had a female apostle that he had a relationship with and was close with and showed affection with and taught how to to be a female in the kingdom of God, and then went out there and spread that after his death. That was her gospel, her part to spread. That, just like the rest of the apostles who went out to spread the gospel after Jesus' resurrection.
Well, that's what I'm looking for, folks. Whoever out there has got more information or more leads on where to go down this rabbit hole, because I am extremely interested in it now. I'm trying to trace where she went, where she preached, where she died, and what may have happened in between. We've got some brief details of it that are written in history, but when you see things being written about it, it's 1,000, 100 years, whatever later of when these actual events taking place. So kind of like a car accident with 10 people and 10 different stories. I'm trying to figure out which one of these stories are true. I saw one of our viewers evidently had some very in-depth genetic information, which I'm interested in. So we're not going to hold you up all night. We've been here over an hour. And any of you that don't know where the website is, it is thesupernatural.show. You can go over there and send an email, or you can go to the Roxy file and send a message. There's a way to contact us on both. I'm always looking for research partners, information, leads, or directions to go in. I am open to all theories, all facts, and all information until we figure out which one is true. Because that's what we do. We search for the truth. That's what rabbit holes are about. Is there anything else you would like to finish up with tonight, Shannon?
That you're awesome. And you
You're
guys, don't
awesome.
forget to like and subscribe to the Roxy Files.
And make sure you
She's
go check out Shannon's channel. Shannon has her own channel now. Go ahead and give the information to her, Shannon.
It's called Children of the Most High. And of course, sure, we do broadcast through the Supernatural Show and Logic Before Authority and Beyond the Veil. But it's always really nice to be able to have our, subscribers hanging out with our channel so that way we beat algorithms. And yeah, so just like, subscribe, share. Make sure you tune in for Roxy's next show, which will more than likely be next Tuesday, but hopefully sooner. She might come out with something sooner. And of course, tomorrow is Daniel with Logic Before Authority. I know Super Dave is spread or sprinkled throughout some of this, just don't know what the time and dates are. And then, of course,
He's a wing
Friday,
it kind of man. He don't
right?
even give us a heads up. And when he's going live, I'm like, oh, Dave's on.
Right.
So we jump in. Dave, dude,
T-
you got to give us more heads up when you're going live.
right. And
I don't think. I think sometimes his is spur of the moment.
and I get that. Tonight, I'm just gonna try and repost some people's testimonies for Testimonial Tuesdays. Just gonna keep that going. Nothing, live, but on Thursdays, I'm gonna come out live with something or other, whatever topic that might be, and then Friday we're all together again. So that's our lineup. I hope you all are doing well and don't get caught up on
The world.
today's worlds
Look
because
up, say a prayer, spread a
today's
little
still
love,
fleeting. Right.
spread a little love. All right, guys. Well, have a good night. Over and out from Shannon and Roxy, and we will be back together on Friday, so you can hear us giggle and chit chat for a little while we drive Daniel crazy.
Oh, and don't forget your tinfoil hat. I'm
Yes,
I'm
tinfoil
still
hat
working
contest.
on mine, but wait, what was the cutoff for that? One more
The end
time.
of the month. We were gonna try to get everybody's in by the end of the month, so then we could start viewer voting the first of next month.
Okay, I will. I'm on it. Good to
Looking down,
know.
you got about a week, Shannon. We
Okay.
don't get to enter the contest, but we still have to
No,
have
but
our
I
submissions
still
in by
need
then.
to. Yeah, I still need to have
We love you
one.
too, Mike. Thank you, Wayne the Pain, and Carol, and Connie, and everybody for coming tonight. If I didn't mention your name, I've read your comments. I will go back and read them after the show. It's really hard sometimes to read them and continue to hold a conversation. But
Yes.
yes, there are many good comments in there, and we agree with many of them. We are all on the same page. We're a family. We're a community. We support each other. So support Daniel tomorrow. He'll be on after lunch, and we'll see you again on Friday, guys.